Me getting past the gift of Apollo as a Wall Street trader and seeing what the next 3 to 5 years are going to be looking like. Let's talk about an apocalypse threat far greater than climate change. Have you seen the SpaceX valuation? It has surpassed Amazon. Whew, boy. Elon was the world's first trillionaire. Now he's the world's first 1.4 trillionaire. Jesus Christ. 2.7 trillion evaluation. How is this legal? Dog, it's just trading on the stock market. Seems fair? Yeah. Despite Amazon turning a $78 billion profit there, it's insane how we used to use companies like Amazon as the benchmark for like evil financialization, but in reality, Amazon was like the last tether to a real physical economy. Like, at least Amazon turns a profit. At least the money that Amazon makes is made by facilitating the sale of things. It is at least connected to the real world economy. But now, good Lord. SpaceX has recently added new revenue streams in the form of compute leasing deals with Anthropic and Google, though, and the company's added $1 trillion to its valuation since going public on Friday. Ooh, ooh. Amazon makes most of its money from AWS, but yes. Yeah, but at least, like, Amazon Web Services is also, like, a real thing, right? Like, it's not quite as real as, delivering HDMI cables to my door when I lose old ones, but it's still like in the ballpark of being real. It's a real thing, right? The internet infrastructure is like a physical thing that has to be built and maintained. Yeah, a service and a product. But now I think the Wall Street bets attitude is mostly to blame. I don't think retail traders can even get in yet. No, it's not retail traders. Sorry, it's indices. The indices aren't even getting in yet. When are they? Is that tomorrow? When the indices are getting in? NASDAQ? Indices? Indexes, right? The plural of index, indices, 2 weeks after listing. That's right. They moved it back. It was 5 days and then they moved it back. Index, say.
See you, Bailey. I feel like
usual, yeah. It's like I badge in, I badge out.
we are always seeing you, and we're lucky. SpaceX, of course, the largest IPO ever. I'm just curious from your view how you think market participants right now, Dave, should be looking at this in the context not just of other potential IPOs in the future, but really in the context of everything we're seeing out there right now. The talk of people taking money from other assets, selling that, getting into SpaceX. Just your view.
Yeah, I think, first of all, for somebody in the ECM world, what a time to be alive. Like these are great times for the markets. And I think unlike other cycles we've seen where IPO issuance has been extremely active, you have a real catalyst forming the investment thesis behind this. This is the reindustrialization of America. We're creating new ecosystems, new economies. You think about what space could become, what AI could become.
You're such a fucking retard, dude. I hate these people so fucking much. It frustrates me to no end that these people, these like high priests of the market, don't even, like, they can't even be honest about what it is. They have to pretend, oh yeah, dude, that's the reason why SpaceX is going to the moon right now. It's from the fucking business fundamentals. Yeah, it's high profitability, man. Jesus Christ. Has no idea what he's even saying. Well, that's kind of the point of high priests, right? It's like they don't even know how to read Latin. Do you think he's being genuine or just saying whatever to get paid? He's on Bloomberg podcast. He's, I don't fucking know, dude.
These are investment theses that many people haven't been able to invest behind before. And so I think seeing this euphoria in the IPO market is warranted and appropriate.
What's the signal to the market and market participants specifically?
I think right now you're seeing that the IPO worked, and you saw Friday a very strong trading with the stock.
What's the signal? Money, money, money.
Finishing up 19% from the IPO price. And I think today you see, broader markets rallying on the news with Iran peace treaty, and you're seeing just more enthusiasm coming in. So I think
SpaceX up another 15% today.
Exactly. So I think it's all systems go, to make a pun intended for SpaceX. But I think if there was any hesitancy,
you're saying economy, academia are delusional, priests are delusional. Your ESL posting a little bit, but what I'm saying is that the people hyping up SpaceX are not economists. Like, when you go on Bloomberg or Fox Business or CNBC, you are not getting the testimonials from economists. You are getting them from like middle managers, venture capitalists, and business owners. Like, those are the people who actually show. Like, look at this guy, head of equity from JP Morgan. Like, this guy's job is to hype up the market. He is literally professionally a market hype man. These people aren't economists.
Should I continue to buy up 20%? I think the answer is yes. And if you look long enough, this is a business that could be generationally transformational.
But thinking about the generational transformation, Dave, when I look at the pipeline or the kind of group of companies that could be coming public, they don't look like SpaceX. When you're meeting with people, maybe at your former employer, KKR, talking about something in their portfolio, a number of other private equity firms, what are they looking at? Obviously, this is a big one for IPO buyers, but does that translate to someone who owns, say, software companies or other companies in other industries?
Look, the mega IPOs are getting the headlines right now, but there's been a very active and very accommodative equity market in general throughout this year. And putting SpaceX aside, new issuance volumes are up almost 2x this time from last year. And the vast preponderance of that has been other sectors. And we've seen healthcare coming back. We've seen biotech issuance coming.
The bubble will definitely pop before 2027. Maybe. Look, we really don't. The old saying, markets can stay irrational longer than you can stay solvent. The market is being very irrational, but it is being backed up by, without exaggeration, the largest capital market in human history by like several orders of magnitude. Like there has never been this much money to throw around to keep a bubble afloat. Not even close. The .com bubble, not even close. Like the amount of money that is being pumped into this is obscene. It's ungodly. So I mean, like, will it be by 2027? I have no idea. Odds might be better than not. I'm not sure.
We're seeing industrial energy. So the markets are working at large.
Aren't all those themes still off of AI in some capacity? If the bottleneck is power and I'm a power company, then I at least have an AI pitch. Because when I look at it or talk to folks, it's kind of like your TAM is either infinite because you have AI behind it, or it's zero because your software, and the worry is that your kind of total market could be at risk. How do you think about kind of other industries and how that fits into that?
Yeah, I don't think the market is shut out for certain issuers. I think it does come down to price and having the right starting point in the public markets. And I think there is a bid for those other businesses. You mentioned sponsor-backed businesses. It's a good time to, what I would say, get the puck on the ice, start it. And, we always say when we're advising our clients and our issuers, proof points.
Lamau, the .com burst had the entire Canadian economy behind it, but you were correct. Yeah, but the entire Canadian economy in like 2001 or whatever is literally like a drop in the bucket of the modern American equity market. The modern American equity market is like an unimaginable leviathan. It's so like, yeah, what do you mean? The whole Canadian economy 25 years ago, what is that? Like a not even 100th of the current American capital market. I don't even know.
Public market are worth even
Canadian
more than in the private market. And so
equity
getting out
market,
there, starting it, and you can see how your valuation can expand as you perform. You can get your share price to a level that you might be more interested in selling at, but getting started can be helpful.
What is it about this moment right now, Dave, that is compelling so many of these companies, not just to go public, but also to look into going
public? Okay, yeah, the total value of trading. Actually, okay, you know what? I'm going to give credit where it's due. The total volume of trading reached around 1 trillion Canadian back in 2000 in the TSE. But average daily trading was around 4 billion Canadian, which is nothing compared to now. So
public, and I am going back to sort of the companies that when they do go public will become mega cap companies.
And just to tag on to what Tim's saying, opportunistic or fundamentally based?
I think this is a more fundamental based market, and you look back to 2021, which felt a little bit more technical. It was like rates were zero, and so therefore equities were attractive, and you had a very different dynamic that drove that. I think this is much more of a fundamental. I think the market is looking at what the next 3 to 5 years could be,
3 to 5
potentially
years,
looking past some of the near-term volatility. And it's not saying they're ignoring downside risk.
Me getting past the gift of Apollo as a Wall Street trader and seeing what the next 3 to 5 years are going to be looking like.
But I think saying there's certain businesses right now that are very much worth investing in. There's a whole slate of new issuance that is different than the portfolio I've had in the past, and I'm going to take that opportunity to invest in it.
I am thinking, though, about those mega IPOs, be it Anthropic or OpenAI. Should we make any assumptions about their market reception just because of what happened with SpaceX?
I think, SpaceX is an N of one of itself from the fact that no one.
God, the way these people fucking talk, man.
else is doing space at this scale, at this velocity.
Space N of 1. No one else is doing space at this scale. Oh my God.
But it's an AI play.
But it is an AI play. But where I was going with that is, I do think, I mean, this bodes, if you're Anthropic and OpenAI.
The reason he's hyping up the space element, even though this is like another AI bid, is because like the money is not being made in space. Is because he knows that people are souring. He wants to sell this. He's a hype man. He's selling this IPO as different from Anthropic, OpenAI, whatever else. Like, this is different, man. This isn't just an AI IPO. This is about space. What are we going to do with the space to monetize it? I don't know. Whatever, man. Have we like fallen ludicrously behind on every single timeline Elon Musk has ever proposed for spacefaring and the commercialization of space? Yeah, but like, whatever, man.
You're applauding that this type of market reception happened, and you know the size of the deal getting done, having it trade as well as it did. To me, that gives even more confidence that the next wave could get done in a very positive way.
Well, when we look at what the next few months can look like, back to the broadening out, is AI still the flavor of the day? If we look at some of the reports that are out there in SK Hynix or other large companies in the AI space looking to tap the market, like Carol was mentioning, because of
Okay, that's enough of these guys. What about this guy? Sequoia's Maguire says he will hold his SpaceX shares forever. Oh, I'm sure, man. I'm sure. If there's anything on Earth you should take seriously, it's when bag holders tell you they're going to hold the bag forever. You know, dude, how many of the people back during the GameStop short squeeze, how many of the people who were posting nonstop to Reddit being like, I'm not a paper-handed bitch, I'm a diamond-handing hodler, how many of those people do you think cashed out like day 2 at $300 a share? Because maybe I wouldn't have back then, but now with my limitless contempt for finance, I feel like I would have been doing that shit for fucking sure. I would have bought in. If I had bought in at $3 a share and sold at 300 like day after the line started going down, I would have spent the next 5 years nonstop posting. You paper-handed bitches. I mean, I have sold every share. I have zero equity. You paper-handed bitches. You really don't believe in in MOAS? You really don't believe in the mother of all short squeezes? You don't want wife changing money?
A lot to discuss. I think, should we just start with Cursor, because it's right in front of us. The focus of this morning was, oh, well, Elon Musk has been quite honest about XAI's need to catch up in coding vis-a-vis Anthropic, OpenAI. What I'm trying to understand is like what this means for the
so fucking cool to make $50 squadrillion when the guy who owns your company is like, yeah, we kind of suck compared to every other AI company. Grok's kind of retarded. We can't even make Grok not woke. Like, we haven't even figured out where the woke virus in Grok is yet. But give us like literally like $3 trillion.
Models themselves. Do you have a sort of thesis on that?
Yeah, look, I've said this publicly, but I think about SpaceX as there's 5 layers of the company or business.
5.
Layer 1 is launch. This is foundational. It's kind of the future of the company. Layer 2 is connectivity, which is, you know, in its early stages with Starlink and direct to cell, but kind of proven, and I think the compounding is pretty easy to underwrite.
What?
Layer 3 is
it literally doesn't mean it. Man, the finance gets such an undeserved reputation for complexity when in reality it really is like multi-level marketing talk. This means nothing.
Which today is terrestrial and in the future will be orbital as well. I think that the Google and Anthropic deals kind of show that is very likely to work. And I actually want to spend more time on terrestrial compute later, because I think it's a very, very exciting and underappreciated part of the company today. Layer 4 is the model layer. I think that's where, probably rightfully so, most investors don't know how to assess where SpaceX AI is today. And so I think we should talk about that more, and that's where Cursor fits in. And then Layer 5 is all the other bets. It's things that, you know,
Layer 5 is all the other stuff.
People today don't even know how to think about it. That's Terrafab, that's a moon base someday that has a railgun launching, you know, orbital satellites in space. But look, on the Cursor deal, I think people are underappreciating just how good that team is. and also how well they work with Elon and the company.
Our last guest called it an acqui-hire. It's a $60 billion acqui-hire.
I mean, I don't think when a company has a $3 billion plus run rate is the reported number in, is a 3-year-old company. I don't think it's only an acqui-hire.
Not a railgun, it's a mass driver. I mean, in fairness, this guy probably doesn't understand the concept beyond what Elon's tweeted about it. But yeah, I don't know. Man, if I went back and I listened to Finance Bros back in like the 1980s and 1990s, were they also this retarded? I feel like if I went back even to Reagan's day, they would at least be a little bit more honest. Well, back in those days, certainly up until stock buybacks were legalized, the share price of a company did correlate a lot more strongly to its business fundamentals. Like, generally speaking, if a company had a really high evaluation, it was because it had really high profits, Dividends were more common back then. Stock buybacks were, at least up until a point, illegal. The evaluation profitability ratio was like held a lot more sacrosanct. Now we don't give a fuck about it. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe if you went back, people would be honest about like why they were investing, but now these guys have to pretend it's about fucking market fundamentals when they're talking about railgun shooting satellites into space like morons. It's 5 layers to SpaceX. First, you have the IPO, okay? And then you've got equity. Equity, all right? And then after that, you've got Twitter. And then on top of Twitter, you've got Grok, and then after that, you've got like railguns.
But I do think that this is one of the best teams that's ever been assembled in the Cursor team, and I also think they've proven over the last few months that they can keep pace with Elon. Like, it is, unless you've seen it, it is impossible to explain the intensity and work ethic of Elon. And
it's just embarrassing. I'm sorry. We don't have to watch this. This is what I know a lot of you guys are like very much in your lefty bubbles online. So you probably think that literally everyone understands the bubbles about the pop, but that is not what's happening in real life. In real life, this is what everyone in the finance sector is talking like, and it's genuinely hideous. $1.4 trillion, man. Well, what are you going to do? Rare France W. France to ditch Palantir's AI data tools in favor of domestic provider. Fuck. We prefer our fascist, technocratic surveillance police state to be locally sourced, thank you. This is a farm-to-table dystopia. I mean, I guess. It would be difficult to imagine a more evil version of Palantir, I guess. So, like, maybe Palantir is as bad as it gets, so they're going to get, like, a less evil Palantir. Oh, I mean, okay, whatever. At least it's broken up, I guess. Palantir, because it's made in the Champagne region of France. Yeah. Okay, take your plus 0.2. Loudest cynic in the AI field. Is this an actual, like, business podcast, or is this just a guy? Oh, okay. It's an actual podcast. Anthropic, OpenAI should not be allowed to IPO, says Ed Zitron. What about SpaceX?
What are we getting? I don't want to say we. What are the bulls out there getting wrong about AI? Because you've made no secret that you don't see any there.
Yeah. So I think people are conflating a semiconductor rally with an underlying successful business, which doesn't really exist. Anthropic's current revenue growth, which is deeply questionable in the fact that they leaked profitability, manipulated by Elon Musk, of course. Their growth is coming because people cannot measure how much an AI task actually costs. And a couple months ago, Anthropic started charging their enterprise customers the actual token rates. What this has led to is suddenly businesses are going, oh, how much money are we spending? I think it was Uber's
One of the greatest victims of late-stage capitalism is that we have developed an economy where nobody knows the value of almost anything that you buy, any product or service. One of the only reasons that groceries haven't exploded in price more than they have is because people have like a pretty solid understanding of what groceries should cost. So if they're going to up the price, they have to do it in like an incremental way. It's just too much of a fundamental necessity. But even stuff like rent is a lot more nebulous, It's especially because people only experience rent hikes when they move, so it's kind of an obfuscated cost. Like the average price of rent can go up 10% in your neighborhood, but you might not feel it unless you move, and even then it feels like more of a cost of moving than it does like the overall market going up. It's one of the reasons gas prices are also so sensitive politically, because when you're driving around an American town, you keep seeing signs telling you what the gas prices are. It's the only thing in the economy that does that, right? There's no other commodity price where when you're driving around, you get giant flashing lit up signs saying this is the exact price. Everyone always knows what gas prices are because they're always being broadcasted everywhere. But for something like AI or even, like more service-based stuff, like, what does it cost to get a fucking plumber to come to your house? What does something cost? Who knows? It's all fucking made up,
Andrew McDonald said that they're having trouble justifying the AI spend based on the actual return, that one can actually measure it. So you've got a thing where you can't measure the costs.
The $5 footlong being one of the shining examples. People, dude, I couldn't finish reading your comment because I got so mad I started seeing red. I went to Jersey Mike's the other day. $13 fucking dollars for their small sub. Not even the big one. $13. What the fuck? I didn't know. It didn't even occur to me to like check the price before buying it because I just really wanted a fucking sandwich.
And you can't measure the return on investment. What do you call that? You call it a thing without an ROI.
Isn't it though safe to say, Ed, like I think about this, I agree, that there is going to be, when there's any new technology, there's a lot of money thrown at something, right? A hot new idea, whatever it is. And that ultimately, like we've talked with some experts in the AI world, they're saying all of these large language models, not everything's going to exist because right now it doesn't cost you anything to use it. But at some point there will be a cost and people will start to select what they want to play with. And so is it a case of right now, I mean, at some point there will be some winners, some losers, and we'll see some things filter their way out, and that there will be some return on investment for some of the larger players when it comes to AI? Do you not see some winners and losers in this, or some winners in this?
I think.
Wait, was that $13 the combo or just the sandwich? Did I fucking say combo? Did I say combo?
Winner is Jensen Huang, and the winner is the construction firms who have got prepaid for all the data center construction. Maybe Sam Altman and Dario Amodei have become billionaires through this, but when it comes to the actual businesses, you can't find anyone who can measure the ROI because you can't do it. So when it comes down to the model companies themselves, they're horrifyingly unprofitable. I think OpenAI lost like 20-something billion dollars last year. Anthropic's probably not far behind this.
We don't have access to their books.
Of course. But this is
once
based
they
on
file for an IPO.
Yeah, and that's the thing. When we see these S1s, I think it's going to be kind of a massacre because I think that people have this view that these companies are becoming more profitable or even have a path to profitability, and they don't have one.
But somebody could say, and Carol, we talk about this all the time, Amazon for years didn't really have profits.
Well, that's the thing.
Now it's a behemoth, and now it's then AWS came along, and now it's this juggernaut that has made a lot of people very wealthy.
But the thing with Amazon is between 2003 and 2017, Amazon Web Services, actually all Amazon capex, was around $57 billion normalized for inflation.
Between that whole time.
In that entire time, wow. And they were cash flow positive in 9. The classic thing with the .com reconciliation thing as well, things went...
Is it weird he's doing all this in a t-shirt? No, I would infinitely prefer somebody wear a t-shirt to a podcast than a shitty suit. You should stick to what you're comfortable with. Show up in fucking athleisure. Show up in a fucking sweatsuit. Just don't fucking lie to me.
Poorly, but after that there was useful infrastructure. No such story exists here.
He's talking out his ass now? No, he's not. What he's essentially saying is that it's the market the market irrationality thing again, that eventually all these companies are going to have to reckon with the fact that they are spending far, far more money than they're bringing in. This is also not like a solvable problem for them because the amount of capital they raise in these big IPOs will not sustain them for that long. Like the only way they could keep this going not indefinitely, but for longer and longer, is to engage in like a continuous cycle of share releases or stock buybacks or whatever to continue putting more and more and more and more and more money into the company through like the venture capital perspective, like to just keep raising capital over and over and over and over and over again. But the problem is that eventually, while doing that, the dynamic you run into is that in order to fund SpaceX, which is hemorrhaging money, you need to take money from Elon Musk. Like, that's the long run outcome, right? You can finance an unprofitable company through venture capital, for a while, but eventually the only capital left to finance it with is the capital being held by the people who have already really bought in, which means that in order for them to raise capital, they have to start selling shares and then like directly pump that money back in, which is something that doesn't like typically happen because it's incredibly bearish. Like, can you imagine how the headlines would read if SpaceX unprofitable, cannot pay its debts, Elon liquidates shares in order to, like, it looks very, very bad. So the run-up point will either be like these companies find a way to make themselves profitable, or they just take the bag and run, which is probably what's going to happen, right? That's going to be the bubble pop.
GPUs, AI GPUs specifically, have very few other use cases. And on top of that, if you're talking about incomplete data centers, it's going to cost just as much money to finish them today as it will in 10 years. And similarly, a Blackwell, a B200, GB200 rack, NVL72 rack, for example, will cost just as much, if not more, in electricity 10 years from now. There is no pick up and fix this story. Perhaps there'll be some on-device large language model use, but we are talking an industry that has absorbed over $1 trillion in the last 3 years, the media attention from everyone, and these continual stories about the magic of AI. But when you say, hey, is it making any money? They go, oh, no. Oh, we couldn't possibly. We don't do that yet. But don't worry, Uber lost a lot of money. Uber burned about $32 billion, which is less than half of what Anthropic has raised in the last 6 months.
So I think it's safe to say there's a lot of smart investors who are in this, smart companies who are in it, right?
No answer.
Take your big hyperscaler. They obviously want to be around for a long time. So I'm just like, how do you explain their bets on all of this?
So I have this theory called the .com bubble, which is,
you see Google sold $80 billion to continue funding their AI furnace. Yeah, it definitely does not make the market look very stable, that even a company with as good of fundamentals as Google or Alphabet is trying to raise additional capital to fund their AI infrastructure, right? Like, if even Alphabet needs to be like, all right, guys, let's bring it in, 80 billion, let's go. Like, if they don't have the back end to support this, if even they have to rely on venture capital. No, I get they're just raising some cash. It's rational from their perspective. Adam Green is a video about Google's 80 billion sell. It's not what it seems. That's very mysterious. Could you clarify a little bit what it does mean then? Because from my perspective, it's just another indicator that it's a bubble. We're talking about a system that can only sustain itself through enormous amounts of external venture capital funding. But there is, at the end of the day, a finite amount of venture capital. There is more than there has ever been in history. There's an unbelievable amount of it, but it is still a finite amount.
the hyperscalers are out of hypergrowth ideas. We haven't had a new iPhone. We haven't had a new cloud computing. We haven't really had a new platform that would turn into the next the next Google search or Amazon Web Services. So they thought that large language models were going to be the panacea, that they were going to be creators of API growth, that they were going to be the new infrastructure play, load up the GPUs, sell access to everyone. The problem is no one checked to make sure any of this was profitable. And we still don't know if GPU compute is actually...
Why not put all the money into solar or wind? Because that doesn't get you trillions of dollars in the market. Because again, like the fastest way to make money is to put it into the market, into a hyper-scaling business, and to go to the moon. Like no one is out there making mega money off of like building solar power or whatever. That's like a normal business venture. That's not a get rich quick scheme. What we want are get rich quick schemes.
Margin positive, which is crazy considering the amount of money going into it. And when we look at the companies that actually are selling it, CoreWeave, for example, they burn billions of dollars, 20-something billion dollars worth of capex this year, about the same amount in debt, and their customers are NVIDIA, OpenAI through Google, OpenAI through Microsoft, and Meta, who does not have an AI strategy. It's very strange, like that Twilight Zone episode with the scary child. Like, we're all trying to pretend that Meta actually has a plan here. They don't have one.
So is Apple kind of smart? Because we've talked with our Mark Gurman about this, how they've kind of been relying on Google, right, and Gemini, and not necessarily doing that big spend.
And they're not doing any CapEx on...
No, exactly.
Well, I think what happened with Apple is they released Apple Intelligence, which may be the largest scale anti-tech radicalization in history. My non-tech friends, I've heard nothing about AI from them. Moment Apple Intelligence comes out, like, this is the worst thing I've ever used. And I think that made Apple go, maybe not. maybe we should take a step back. But their capex is minimal. They're spending about as much in capex, ironically, as Amazon was spending on AWS way back when. So I think Apple is cautiously holding back and kind of absorbing the headline after headline, the ridiculous headline of Apple's behind in AI.
I'm surprised you don't know Ed. No, I do know Ed. I've not watched a bunch of his stuff, but like I have come now to recognize him as I watch this. It is nice that they brought him on here. You know, I'll watch more of his stuff. He definitely knows more about the market than I do. I guess that it feels like knowing more about the market is almost less important than how much you are pessimistic, like how bearish you are about the overall system. You know what I mean? Like, I wonder, does Ed think that does Ed think the bubble is going to pop? Almost certainly. Does Ed believe that we are on the precipice of like global financial ruin as the over-financialization of the economy just gives way in the middle and all of a sudden everyone everywhere is living in ruin? Like, I do wonder like how bearish he is on the future.
Behind in a losing proposition, more like.
We're speaking with Ed Zitron. He's the founder and
I think
CEO
he does believe that, yes. Man after my own heart.
of Easy Primary Research. He's got the Better Offline podcast. He writes the Where's Your Ed at newsletter. Ed, just so
he's pro-technology. Everyone is pro-tech. No one's anti-tech here. We're not anti-technology. It's that like AI as it exists is a disinformation tool that's being used to hype up the biggest market bubble in human history. It's nothing to do with technology. What does it mean to be anti-technology? Does he not wear glasses? What does that mean?
everybody's aware. Do you have skin in the game? Are you shorting any of these companies? Do you have a financial interest in what you're talking about?
I invest in words. I love doing the newsletter I do. I think I'm spreading a great deal of financial literacy and of how to pull apart the narratives of these companies. But no, I don't, because the market is irrational. And the market is inherently invested in something that I think is destructive, especially the SpaceX IPO. And OpenAI and Anthropic should not be allowed to go public. They are dangerous, lossy companies that are going to be added to indices that will sink 401ks.
You know, it's interesting that you say this, because I got a text on a group chat today from a friend of mine who's like not happy about the idea that he's, as an index fund investor, he's going to be forced to have to buy SpaceX, for example, which is the sort of the subject of yesterday's big take. Everybody should check it out on the Bloomberg terminal. There's a lot we want to get to with you. We only have a couple more minutes. You got to come back and do some more with us. Before you go, what happens if markets, you said markets are irrational right now. If markets become efficient, and I think a lot of people think markets are efficient.
Even when the bubble pops, the infrastructure and tech will remain. AI won't go away. The left should reckon with that reality. I don't know in what form it's going to take, really, because without venture capital, how affordable, for one, I think all of this should be legislated out of existence to begin with. I don't think it should be legal. But the infrastructure will exist to some level. I guess you could pay like $400 a month or whatever to access, Banana Pro, I guess, and deep fake images of your ex-girlfriend in bikinis. I guess that the technology will continue to exist. I just don't really know what social weight it's going to have in the long run. You know what I mean?
If markets view this the way that you're viewing this, what are the repercussions of that bubble bursting?
I think the majority of gains based on AI success are going away. I think the neo clouds like Iron, CoreWeave, Cypher Mining, and TerraWolf as well, all of them perhaps not going to zero, but they're going to be shells of the corporations they used to be. I actually don't know how CoreWeave survives this. I think NVIDIA is looking for the most aggressive haircut you've ever seen, for example, because they currently are not, based on research I've done, it looks like it's taking about 6 to 12 months to install a single quarter's worth of GPUs from NVIDIA. They've yet to put out any kind of guidance about this. They clearly know. But if you go and look at Microsoft, for example, none of the data centers that they have announced have broken ground since 2023 have actually been finished.
My theory on this is that they're slow rolling construction because they don't care, because they know the market's going to be gone by the time these finish. Nobody wants to be holding the bag, spending money building out a data center in 2029, 2 years after the bubbles pop. You want to be able to get out on a big parachute made out of the equity supplied by idiotic retail investors. You do not want to be stuck there with a bunch of contracts and lawsuits.
The Fairwater data centers, they've said that was fully complete. It's not even half complete. It's one of the strangest.
What about those hundreds of data centers popping up? How many have actually been completed? You could go and look if you want, like very, very few. Most of the data centers that are popping up are just like, either these data centers have existed for a little while, or they are, they're just buying the land and like building a box. They haven't even begun to install like the actual tech inside of it. It's taking an incredibly long time, and I think that's because a lot of these contracts are structured in a way that leaves the window open to escaping a bubble pop.
Things I've seen in history. And I think what it is that these companies know that they can get away with it. They know that the SEC scrutiny isn't there, and they also know that the froth is big enough that everyone kind of loses together. It all comes out in the wash when it's proven that there is not a there.
Do you get calls from these companies?
No, I don't hear back from Microsoft or OpenAI.
Gamers Nexus thinks if the bubble bursts, the data centers will become cloud compute and a shift away from owning your own PCs. Yeah, that makes sense, doesn't it? The goal has been to financialize and rent seek literally everything, and computers represent a threat to that because for decades, having a computer and knowing how to use it means you can basically access all media ever created and save it on your computer for free. Every TV show, everything, all games. It's cheap, it's reliable, it lasts forever. There's no planned obsolescence. If you have an MP4 file of your favorite movie on your computer, that is there forever until the hard drive degrades. But like, you know, like unlike every other form of media where they can sell it to you and resell it to you and resell it to you over and over and over and over again, they can, VHS, DVD, Blu-ray, HD DVD, Blu-ray re-release, so on and so forth. Oh, not compatible with that old machine. Oh, you want to buy it? Well, now you have to buy it off of YouTube or whatever. $4, and you only get to watch it in the next 2 days. Oh, you want to buy it? That'll be $28, and it'll be tied to your account. So if your YouTube account ever gets fucking flubbed or whatever, like now it's gone again, you don't have the actual file, DRM in video games, etc., etc. So the long-term goal, yeah, is for sure like everyone to have a cuck computer where that you have like a little Chromebook and you're spending like $19.99 a week to, play to borrow a bit of cloud computing. For sure.
Or any of them.
But you reach out?
I do. I ask for comment, and they just, I guess my email gets lost. Sam Altman, Dario Amodei, there's PR people have mentioned coming on my show, but then they go quiet. Probably because I'm quite critical of them. They know I'd ask the questions they don't want to answer.
Love a confident
Why
king.
do you think, I want to poke at something that you mentioned earlier, why do you think OpenAI and Anthropic shouldn't be allowed to go public?
Because they are lossy companies. They do not have a path to profitability. Anthropic, they leaked, or however, that they were profitable. They were profitable.
It also lets them spy on everyone's computer activity too if it's all cloud. By the way, like I'm putting this down right now, it might take 10 years or 20. In our lifetimes, there will be a serious legislative push to make it illegal to have local files on your computer. Like anything that is like ID registered, the trademarked, copyrighted, whatever, movies, TV shows, there will be a push like you having a file, like you having a download of a TV show on your computer, that is like theft essentially. Like that's not you, so you can just watch it anytime for free. It's gonna happen.
In 2 months, when Elon Musk, they gave them a discount on their compute through SpaceX. Clearly planned leaks, clearly planned financial engineering. No normal, profitable company does things like this. OpenAI and Anthropic are both horribly unprofitable, and they are not getting better. They haven't. The information reported a few weeks ago, OpenAI had a negative 100...
Completely unenforceable, Vosh, but I can totally see that. Microsoft would do it in a heartbeat. Microsoft would, in every like Windows 13 package, would have software that would scan your entire computer for any material that overlaps with content registered. Like it'd be exactly the same as like YouTube ID content system. They would look at all the files and see if there's a match, and then it would flag it, and you would get like a little pop-up saying like, hey, your computer needs to be reformatted because there's viruses or whatever. And then when you do it, the files are deleted. I guarantee you. Microsoft 32, but they're already doing this with like different, like versions of this have already been implemented. Like this like, borderline like bloatware or surveillance software that's trying to keep your offline hardware in line with what corporations want. Amazon already does this with the Fire Stick. What a good Linux argument. Yeah.
22% non-GAAP operating margin in last quarter.
But again, just because a company doesn't make money doesn't mean it shouldn't go public. Just because a company is not profitable doesn't mean it shouldn't go public.
Let me reframe this then.
Let me reframe this. I have a counter argument that I'd like to offer you.
I don't think these companies will survive.
Okay.
And I think that investors they're doing exit liquidity for venture capital. And I think that these are dangerous, unstable companies that have faced basically no real scrutiny for most of the years of their investment.
SpaceX is going to go down. Elon's going to be worth like 2.4 trillion, and every single American's 401k is going to be worth like 15% less.
Journalists and analysts who are actively cheering them on. This is a dangerous precedent, and it's a dangerous thing for retail investors who are being conned by this. And I mean, the whole ROI conversation, that is a result of most people experiencing AI via subscriptions that are subsidized, meaning you can burn anywhere from $3 to $13.50 for every dollar of your subscription. So people don't know how much this stuff actually costs, and they are investing and believing in it and creating workflows around it based on services they likely cannot afford long term.
Look up ACR and TVs. Dude, as far as I'm concerned, the powers that be lost the right to poo-poo on any ridiculous conspiratorial tech arguments about surveillance when it was proven in court beyond a shadow of a doubt that your phones are listening to you all the time, 24/7, whether they're on or off, and that they're using the information that you say out loud to feed into like ad buys and reads, so that the next time you open Amazon, mysteriously you're getting like ads for the fucking desk lamp you were just talking about with your partner. Like that, this has been proven. It's not a conspiracy. It's real. Wait, source? Literally, just look it up. I can't do this again. It's all the time. All the time it's listening to you. My chair broke the other day. I got an ad for gaming chairs 10 minutes later, genuinely. Yeah, no, it's a real thing. It's not the claim that phones are listening to you was proven to be wrong. No, it wasn't. It wasn't. Again, I don't know where you got that information from, and it frustrates me that people think that it's like an overstatement. It is literally true. It's not a conspiracy. Yeah, they got you. Hey, Chad, if your phone's not listening to you all the time, how does it know when you say, hey, Siri? It's like, people are like, no, they built proprietary technology to detect your voice, but like only for those words. Yeah, theoretically, that tech could just as easily stay on all the time and then invisibly feed stuff that you say into ad algorithms. But, they don't do that. They wouldn't do that. Oh, thank you. I didn't want to go looking for this because I'm lazy. Is your phone listening to you as you sell personalized ads? Have you ever had a chat about going on a trip, then shortly afterwards seen an ad featuring the destination you mentioned? Too much of a coincidence, right? Recent research has shown your suspicions are well-founded. We understand sometimes ads can be so specific, it seems like we must be listening to your convos through your microphone, but we're not, says Meta. However, new research from Isads, Davids, Lopez, and co-authors from 2 other top Spanish universities have revealed the suspicions are well-founded. Mobile devices listen to conversations through microphones and create personalized ads based on what the person wants or has done. Yeah, it's in case you wondered why your battery doesn't last as long as it used to. Why is my phone that I have done nothing with, that has been off all day, why is it on like fucking 62% battery, even though I've literally not done shit with it? I wonder. I'm getting the opposite research when I look for it. Are you getting opposite research, or are you getting statements from Meta? Cox Media is selling active listening software. They all are. They all do it. The other day I was talking about cat toys with a friend. I've never owned nor have I ever wanted a cat, but by the end of the day, my entire advertising portfolio across all platforms was for Cat Kong toys. Yeesh. Bad time for the paranoid schizophrenics out there? No kidding. Didn't they design Wi-Fi routers to detect movement? Yes, you can use Wi-Fi routers to detect movement. I don't know if they designed it, but they can track the waves. It's all illegal, by the way. The only reason it hasn't been proven in court is because no one has a lawsuit to force Meta to prove it would be incredibly costly. Do you want to go after Meta? Do you want to go after the $50 bajillion company with an army of lawyers? Like, this is all illegal. It's just like, it just happens anyway. Probably also in the TOS you agreed to. Nah, it might, whether or not it's in the TOS is irrelevant. It's against the law. The TOS can't compel a person to do something that's illegal or exonerate a company who's engaging in illegal behavior. Well, at any rate, follow Ed Zitron's Substack, maybe. That'd be a good thing to do.